They say the last sound Mary Ellen Porter heard that night was the slow, rhythmic creak of the North Orchard gate, swinging open long after midnight. A gate no one on the plantation had touched in over a century. A gate every worker, enslaved or free, swore never to approach. A gate sealed by a rule older than the house itself. Never step beyond it after sundown. Not even the plantation's owners dared to. And when Mary Ellen vanished on the eve of her 17th birthday, the townsfolk whispered the same thing they had whispered for generations. She broke the rule, and the rule always collects. Long before the Broadwater Plantation was built in 1823, the land carried a reputation that the locals hid behind polite silence. Native hunters avoided it. Missionaries blessed it twice, but refused to enter. It was said the soil itself was listening, that footsteps were remembered and repeated. When the plantation was formed, the first enslaved families noticed something unnerving. Every path led normally, except the one heading north. The dirt there was darker, loose, breathing almost. Their elders made a rule for their own protection, quietly, without telling the overseers. No one walks past the North Orchard gate after sundown. Nobody questioned it, because at night, something moved near the trees. In 1831, Jonathan Broadwater, the plantation's founder, wrote a single line in his journal, refusing ever to elaborate. A sound in the orchard last night, like a person crying into the soil. He ordered his workers to seal the North Orchard gate permanently. But the enslaved families didn't obey his order. They obeyed the old one. For them, the gate wasn't just a boundary. It was a bargain between the living and the land. And the land did not like to be disturbed. The first disappearance was a boy named Eli. Quiet, obedient, barely 14. Witnesses said he was last seen carrying harvested apples toward the smoking shed, his silhouette lit by an amber dusk. He never reached the shed. When the men searched, they found his basket lying near the forbidden gate, apples still warm from the sun. The dirt had sunk slightly around them, as though someone, or something, had knelt there. A week later, the gate was found open. No wind could have done it. No human admitted to touching it. The rule tightened its grip. The elders of the enslaved quarters carried stories older than the plantation, older than the town. Stories of land that drank memory, swallowed footsteps, copied voices. They taught every child the rule. At sundown, look away from the orchard. Do not answer if it calls your name. Do not follow if you hear footsteps behind you. And never touch the gate. This wasn't superstition. It was survival. And every elder said the same chilling thing when asked why. Because the orchard remembers every soul that walked where it should not. In 1875, Broadwater's grandson, Thomas, inherited the estate. Young, wealthy, arrogant, he dismissed the rule as slave folklore and ordered the gate unlocked. The elders begged him not to. Some cried. He accused them of dramatizing old shadows. So he opened the gate himself and instantly felt a coldness that sliced through his jacket and bone. He left it ajar. That night, the orchard echoed with soft, deliberate footsteps. No wind, no animals, just footsteps. The next morning, Thomas locked the gate again. He never spoke of it. He never mocked the elders again. But it was too late. Something had been invited. By 1924, when Mary Ellen was born into one of the last families still living near Broadwater, the plantation was decaying. But the rule was as strong as ever. She was bright, soft-spoken, and brave, a little too brave. Her grandmother warned her. Some rules protect you from things that do not bleed. Mary Ellen laughed. She shouldn't have. The orchard doesn't like laughter after dark. At 16, Mary Ellen was challenged by friends. Prove the orchard isn't cursed. A childish dare. A reckless one. She agreed to approach the gate at dusk, nothing more. Witnesses watched her walk. The orchard was silent. No wind. No birds. Just waiting. She stopped before it, placed one hand on the wood, and whispered, "I'm not afraid." Something answered from the other side. No one saw what. But the rule was broken. Her family noticed the change immediately. Mary Ellen sat at dinner, but didn't eat. She stared at nothing, listening, as if someone stood behind her, whispering into her hair. Her grandmother placed a trembling hand on the girl's shoulder and whispered the old warning. Mary Ellen replied softly, "He says it's almost time." No one else heard him. No one else wanted to. The house began to change around her. Footsteps scratched through the floorboards. Shadows pulled in corners where light should reach. Mary Ellen's room smelled of cold earth. Her mother said she heard 2 sets of breathing when checking on her at night. One human, one impossibly slow. The elders gathered again. The gate had been touched. The land had been awakened. And the rule demanded payment. An elder woman summoned Mary Ellen privately. She told her the truth. The rule was not superstition. It was a pact, forged generations ago to keep the orchard's hunger contained. Breaking it meant something would be claimed. A life. A voice. A memory. Mary Ellen asked. Claimed for what? The elder closed her eyes. For company. On a warm September night, Mary Ellen awoke around 2 a.m. Neighbors later said they saw her walking calmly toward the orchard. Her nightgown brushed the grass. Her expression was serene. The gate opened before she touched it, slow, deliberate, as if greeting her. She stepped through, never hesitated, never looked back. By sunrise, she was gone. No footprints, just a faint outline in the soil where she had stood, and one apple, perfectly red, resting beside it. The town organized a search party. No birds sang that morning. No dogs barked. As they combed the orchard, they heard soft weeping under the roots. Men claimed they felt unseen hands brushing their ankles. One volunteer ran screaming after hearing his own voice calling from deep underground. Nothing human was found, but the gate closed by itself at dusk, locked, as if satisfied. 2 days later, the veiled woman returned. Again, she walked straight to the gate without a word. She tapped the wood once, listening to its echo, then murmured, "Another taken, another remembered. The balance holds." Someone finally asked who she was. She lifted her veil just enough to speak clearly. "I am the one who keeps the door shut." Then she vanished, leaving behind the smell of cold soil and wilted apples. By 1935, Broadwater Plantation was abandoned. Families left. Churches moved. Even the owners fled, claiming the land felt too awake. The orchard grew wild. The gate rotted but never fell. No one approached it, not even out of curiosity, because every few years, someone walking near the property after sunset reported hearing a girl's voice whisper, "Don't follow me. He's still hungry." Today, the land is overgrown, hidden behind county fencing. But locals still keep the rule alive. No one walks there after sundown. No one answers the orchard if it calls. No one touches the gate, not because they fear ghosts, but because the soil feels aware, as if remembering something it was never meant to hold. This is the forgotten history of the Broadwater Plantation, a place where a simple rule kept generations alive, where a gate guarded a hunger older than the nation itself, where a girl's courage became a cautionary tale whispered through decades. If you ever pass through rural Georgia and hear footsteps behind you after sunset, don't turn around, don't answer, and above all, do not touch the gate. Some rules exist to protect you from what the world has chosen to forget.